The alarm hit before I even opened my eyes. Red light filled the cabin. My hands found my gear before my mind understood why. Something was wrong on Deck 4, and Deck 4 was where the cargo hold sat, sealed and quiet, until now. I am Daniel Marsh, and 3 hours earlier, I had broken every rule I knew to save something that was never mine to save. I ran through the corridor with my boots slamming against the metal floor. The ship shook once, then again. Somewhere behind me, a voice on the comm system kept repeating one line. Unknown vessel approaching. Unknown vessel approaching. My chest tightened. I already knew who was coming, and I already knew why. 3 days ago, my unit had boarded a drifting alien freighter left empty after a battle nobody won. We were told to search for supplies, weapons, anything useful before command ordered the wreck destroyed. I found something else instead. Behind a locked door marked with strange symbols, I found 3 small creatures curled together in a torn nest of metal and cloth. Their scales shimmered gold and copper under the dim light. Their eyes opened the moment I stepped closer, and they did not look afraid. They looked like they were waiting for someone. Nobody else on my team wanted to touch them. My commanding officer, a sharp woman named Grace Ellery, told me to leave them behind. She said command would decide what to do with alien creatures, not a soldier acting on instinct. I understood the order. I did not follow it. I carried all 3 back to our ship, wrapped in my jacket, hidden from the cameras near the loading bay. I told myself I would explain everything once we reached the station. I told myself there would be time. There was no time. The moment the alarm went off, I understood the truth. Whoever had left those 3 hatchlings behind was coming back for them, and they were not going to ask nicely. I reached the cargo hold and slammed my hand against the access panel. The door slid open, and the 3 creatures rushed toward me the second they saw my face. They pressed against my legs, trembling, their small bodies warm, despite the cold air rushing through the broken vents. One of them, the smallest, let out a soft cry that sounded almost human in its fear. "I know," I whispered. "I know, stay close." The ship groaned again. This time the lights flickered, and for one terrifying second, everything went dark. When the emergency lighting kicked back in, Grace was already standing in the doorway, weapon raised, eyes locked on the 3 creatures behind me. "You brought them onto this ship," she said. Her voice was flat, controlled, but I could hear the edge underneath it. "Do you understand what you have done, Daniel? Whatever species those hatchlings belong to, they just found us." "I couldn't leave them," I said. "You saw that wreck. Whatever happened there, it happened fast. Someone left in a hurry and left them behind. If I hadn't taken them, they would have died alone in the dark." Grace lowered her weapon slightly, but her jaw stayed tight. And now their parents might tear this ship apart to get them back. Before I could answer, the entire hull shuddered with a deep, grinding impact. Metal screamed somewhere above us. The 3 hatchlings pressed even closer to me, and I felt my heart pound harder than it had in years. "They are already here," I said. We moved fast. Grace ordered the crew to secure the lower decks while she and I made our way toward the bridge, the 3 creatures following close behind, refusing to be separated from me even for a moment. Every corridor we passed through echoed with distant impacts, as if something enormous was testing the strength of our ship from the outside. On the bridge, our pilot, a calm young man named Noah Bright, fought to keep the ship steady. Warning lights blinked across every panel. "I have never seen a signature like this," he said, glancing at the display. "It's massive, and it's circling us instead of attacking directly." "It's testing us," Grace said, "trying to find where we are weak." I looked down at the 3 hatchlings, who had gone completely silent, their golden eyes fixed on the ceiling, as if they could sense something beyond the metal walls. One of them let out a low sound, almost a call, and the entire ship seemed to pause, as if something outside had heard it too. "They're calling to it," I said. Grace turned toward me sharply. "Calling to what?" "Their parent," I said. "I think that's what's circling us. Not an enemy fleet, A mother looking for her young. The bridge fell into a tense silence. Nobody wanted to believe something that large could belong to a single creature. Yet the pattern outside made a strange kind of sense. It was not firing weapons. It was searching. "If you are right," Grace said slowly, "then this ends the moment we let her see them." Noah shook his head. "Or it ends the moment she realizes we're the reason her children were taken from that wreck in the first place." I felt the weight of that thought settle heavily in my chest. He was right. There was no way to know how this creature would react once she found us. She might see rescue. She might see theft. Either way, we were about to find out. I made a decision before anyone could stop me. "Open the forward viewport shielding," I said. "Let her see them. Let her see that they are safe." Grace hesitated only a moment before nodding to Noah. The heavy shielding outside the main viewport slid open, revealing the vast darkness of space, broken by the massive shifting form of something enormous, scaled, and glowing faintly along its wings. It was breathtaking and terrifying all at once, larger than any creature I had ever imagined. The three hatchlings pressed against the glass, calling out again, louder this time. For a long, unbearable moment, nothing happened. The massive creature outside simply hovered there, watching, its enormous eyes catching the light from our ship. Then, slowly, the tension around us seemed to shift. The creature lowered itself slightly, moving closer, but with a gentleness that felt impossible for something so large. It pressed one enormous eye close to the viewport, staring directly at the three small hatchlings pressed against the glass. "She's not attacking," Noah said quietly, disbelief clear in his voice. "She's checking," I said, "making sure they're really here, really safe." I stepped forward until I stood directly beside the hatchlings, letting the massive creature see me clearly. I did not know if she could understand intention, or if creatures like her recognized kindness the way we did, but I hoped, more than I had ever hoped for anything, that she could see the truth in this moment. I had not taken her children to harm them. I had taken them because leaving them behind felt impossible. The creature outside remained still for a long moment, studying me, studying the three small forms pressed against the glass. Then, slowly, she let out a deep sound that vibrated through the hull of our ship, not a roar, but something closer to relief. The three hatchlings answered immediately, their small cries turning warm and eager, no longer afraid. Grace exhaled beside me, lowering her weapon fully for the first time since the alarm had gone off. "I think," she said carefully, "she understands." The massive creature shifted again, moving back from the viewport just enough to give us space, though she did not leave entirely. She circled the ship once more, this time slower, calmer, as if deciding what to do next. "We need to return them," Grace said. "Now, while things are calm." I nodded, though something inside me ached at the thought. Over the last 3 days, those three small creatures had trusted me completely, had followed me through danger without hesitation. Letting them go felt like losing something important, even though I knew it was the right choice. We moved toward the small transport bay near the ship's underside, the three hatchlings following closely, their earlier fear now replaced with quiet excitement. As the outer doors opened, the massive creature waited just beyond the ship, her enormous form steady and patient despite her size. I knelt down beside the three hatchlings one final time. "Go on," I said softly. "She's waiting for you." The smallest one paused, pressing against my hand one last time before turning and following its siblings toward the open doors. I watched as all three moved carefully into the open space, drifting gently toward their mother, who curled protectively around them the moment they were close enough to reach. For a long moment, nobody on the bridge spoke. We simply watched as the massive creature turned slowly, her three young safely gathered against her, before disappearing into the darkness of space, leaving our ship untouched and quiet behind her. Grace finally broke the silence. "You do understand," she said. that this report is going to be very difficult to explain. I almost laughed, despite everything. I know. You broke protocol. You endangered this ship. You made a decision that could have gotten every one of us destroyed. I know that too, I said. Grace studied me for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, finally, something close to a smile crossed her face. But you were right about her, about all of it. I looked out at the empty space where the massive creature had disappeared, feeling something settle quietly inside me, a strange mixture of relief and quiet sadness. I did not regret what I had done. I would make the same choice again without hesitation. Noah turned from his console, glancing between the two of us. For what it's worth, he said, I don't think Command is ever going to believe this report. Grace let out a tired breath. No, she said. I don't think they will either. I stood there a while longer, staring out into the quiet darkness, thinking about 3 small creatures who had trusted me completely, and about a mother who had found her way back to them because someone refused to leave them behind. Whatever came next, whatever explanations I owed Command, I knew one truth clearly. Some choices are not about following the rules. Some choices are about doing what is right, even when it is difficult, even when it is dangerous, and even when nobody else understands why. I had made mine, and I would make it again.